Josh here, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another tutorial where today I'll be once again showing you how to build this entrance in Theme Park Tycoon 2. Now if you haven't already, I recommend you go watch the last two parts, seeing as this is the last part of this little mini series where I show you how to build this. So if you haven't already gone and watched those and built that part, then this isn't going to make much sense, so I recommend going to go check them out. But anyway, let's get on with finishing this entrance. So where we left off on the last episode is that we built this entire area right here, and all we've basically got left to do right now is actually finish this backside and the actual, back of the entire entrance right here. So let's just get straight on with it. So for starters, we're going to grab this little wall right here that we've been using everywhere else, and we're just going to place in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just a little half in like so. Make sure you're on a quarter snapping right here so that you can place this in. And then of course we want to bring this up like we have for the rest of this wall right here, just an extra one up like so. And once you've brought that all along and painted it, of course we want to add in our roof trims, just going all the way along right here, as we've already done in the previous episodes. There's not really much point in me telling you how to do this. And then of course we want to fill in this little gap right here, which we're going to do surprisingly the exact same as over here. And we just want to bring this basically the exact same length as we just did for the bottom part right here, because at this point it's then going to stick out with this little thing here. Make sure you place all your bars in here just as we did at the front so that it plugs this little gap right here. And then there we go, we've got all of those walls in and everything's painted. Now what it's time to do is actually put these walls in right here. Now this is a little bit difficult because it's not quite on grid thanks to how this roof is actually placed here, but you can see we've actually already brought this out the right amount. But if you haven't brought this out this much, all you need to do is, I'm just going to set this to 2 just to make this a bit easier, but we're going to just go at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in total like so. And of course this only goes until this point right now, so what we want to do is actually bring this down as well so it lines up with this bottom part as well. Basically this is kind of one big extension of this roof over here, and then we want to double this up to make this entire thing an actual full roof right here, and just bring this all the way along just as we did on this other side here. And now to actually get this little part that comes out with this window right here. Now this is a little bit difficult because like I said before, it's not quite on the grid, it's a little bit off grid right here. So well, it's technically on grid, but it's kind of a little bit of a weird grid right here. So all we want to do is just go onto a quarter snapping right here, and about halfway through this half piece, in fact what I even recommend doing is just painting this a different color just temporarily. But what we want to do is just halfway through this piece right here, we want to grab our little wall like so, and on a quarter snapping just place that halfway through this right here. And now we actually know where this one goes. We want to do the exact same placement on the other side. Now the way that I would say this is easiest to do right here is if we just bring this all the way up, and we're just going to set this to a quarter snap, and you can see we go 1 until, or maybe 2 I guess, until it comes out like that. So what we can do is just on this side as well, just go to here and go 1, 2 in, and then we can just bring this back down and it will be in the exact same sort of place as this side. And then now, as you can probably guess, we're going to paint some stuff and actually make this, these walls here. So what we're going to do is just bring up our cobblestone like so, and in here of course we want to just fill in our walls like this. Now these may not line up completely correctly with these big walls, so we're gonna have to just bring in with these smaller walls right here and just place those in like so. And now surprisingly the windows aren't actually that hard right here, because all we want to do, as you can see over here, is we just want to get our big walls and we just want to bring those going all the way up to the top. Not that high, we're going to leave that for now, but we're going to just bring them up, make sure we paint them so that we know what we're doing, and then we're going to bring them across and just do the exact same on this side too. And now you can actually check if your roof looks in line, because if this were a side right here, if this gap looks bigger than this side, then well, you've done something wrong. Now the window that I've actually done right here is 4 walls tall, which you'll notice is the actual height that we've gone to right here. So now what we want to do is fill in this gap right here. We need to use these wedges like so. Now we're going to have poles coming up here, so what you can technically do right here is just bring this up by a quarter, and we'll fill that in with a bar and such as we go along. But we just want to place these in on both sides right here, and then place these into a peak. Yes, they will slightly overlay each other, so you may get a little bit of bugging right there, but you can just then place these in like so with that, and then just one of these little walls right here. And then to fill in these tiny gaps right here, we just want to get these big long bars, and we can paint that all wooden planks. There we go. That wasn't actually as hard as I made it sound, to be honest, but now we just want to bring up these walls right here. So of course it's actually connected into these walls back here, and in a second we'll actually bring some walls out here as well, so that all makes a bit more sense. One thing to keep in mind is obviously this second layer is slightly higher, so make sure to bring that wall in just a little bit more. And then guess what, guys? Surprise, surprise, surprised we need to do more poles right here. I feel like this has just become like a tradition of these tutorials right now. It's just like it's catchphrase, you know, guys, we're gonna do some more poles. But hey, once we've brought these poles right here, we can actually see that we've got a little gap. So I just get one of these little cylinders like what we used in the last episode and just bring them up until they start poking through. It's not gonna look perfect and it's not gonna connect up completely, but hey, is it the end of the world? No, not really. You know, you're not really gonna see this. This is mostly at the back anyway, and you're not really gonna be looking at the back, are you? Also, something to mention right here is that we can now bring this little roof back a little bit. Obviously, that was sticking through into the window area, which we don't want because we want to actually, you know, be able to see out the window in our gift shop or information or whatever. We're gonna go through this later if we fit it in this episode. If not, then it will be another episode, but that's really just a separate sort of thing, you know, rather than a part of this tutorial. Of course, we want to once again just bring in these roof trims going all the way around here. Honestly, you can just go onto, I think, a quarter snapping right here. Yeah, it just makes your life a bit easier here. But basically, we just want to bring these all the way around. Now, they will stick through here, which is a major pain. And if you do want to fix that, there is technically a way, which I'm going to show you very, very quickly right here, because it's not the most exciting thing ever. But if we just delete that, by the way, you can hold Y to remove. But if we just delete that, you can just get a roof trim like so. And we're on no snapping right now, even though you don't really need to be. And if you just place one in and then go into here and use custom snapping 0.2, you can just bring these roof trims along like so, and that'll actually fill it in. So if you really, you know, want to have a bit more extra space in here and you don't want it to be covered up by these annoying roof trims, that is one way to fix that. And now it's time to do our window, which is, you know, not too hard right here. We just want to scroll all the way along right here until we find this pole right here. Now we want to color this like this black and this plastic, and we just want to not place it in straight away, but click enabled right here. And what we want to do is basically just very slightly move this back right here, because normally what it'll do is, if we just actually place this in right here, just so I can show you, what it'll normally do is just do this sort of thing where it glitches through, which we of course do not want right here. So what we're going to do is just get this pole again, and using precision mode right here, we can just move this in very slightly on no snapping and place that in like so. And then we just want to bring this going all the way around the edge. This is of course our little window frame right here, I guess you could say. And if we just use a half snapping right here, we can rotate this round, place it along the top, and do the exact same thing down the bottom. Now, something to quickly just keep in mind is that actually that isn't going to quite work because we've got this roof trim here. So I recommend moving it up on no snapping like that and just placing it in, although really it'll work anyway. So if you don't want to do that and you just want to have it normal, don't worry, it'll also work like that. It just completely depends on what you want to do. So what we now do here is just hold shift and click on this right here, and we just want to grab this slightly smaller pole. We want to place this just going straight into the middle of our window. Now you could do your own window design, I guess, but this is just a nice modern design right here. And if we just place those going all the way up the middle and then set our thing to half snapping, we bring it down by a half, rotate it round, place one in like so, and do the exact same thing down at the bottom here. We just up that by one, rotate it round, and place it in. And then we can just connect those up to the edges like so. And after we've painted all this, we should have a pretty nice looking window. And now the very last thing to actually finish this window off is, of course, we just want to go into here and get our glass panels and fill this all in. Now, because this isn't the exact right size, well, what we're going to do is we're just gonna, whoops, not do that, that's wrong. What we're going to do is we're just gonna go into default snapping, bring this all the way along, and then if we just go into a half snapping right here, we can rotate this round, bring this down by a half, and we can just place them in this way, which means it is still gonna go through here a little bit, but it's better than having it go all the way through. But there you go, you've now got your glass. Feel free to change the transparency, I guess, but I'm just gonna leave mine at 80 on this white that it comes with. And now at this point, I recommend you do a couple things right here. You can actually paint this all grass here because we no longer need this as rock, and I'd also copy this entire thing over to the other side. Now I'm not gonna, because that will take me like an hour, but I would recommend doing that because what we're now going to do is what I qualify as the back end right here, and all of this kind of connects in, and really you could even have your entrance like this and just faff around at the back here. But what we're going to do is basically sort out the back end, what you'll be able to see from the actual, you know, exiting this this entrance building right here. So, you know, I recommend duplicating it over and then, you know, continuing from there. Anyway, let's continue now. So what we want to do is straight away just grab one of these cobblestone walls right here, and we want to place in one like so. We can take off precision build mode and place in another one on top of that. Around this corner, we want to once again place two like so, and just leave a gap and place another one in like that. Now to fill this little gap right here, we want to just go into a quarter snapping right here and placing these little things as well. You can make this a little bit more perfect if you want to get more space in here, but hey, I don't think it's the end of the world. And now to actually kind of help us, you know, gauge what we're doing right here and work all that out, we're actually just going to grab our pebble path right here, and this is all raised up in fact. So what we're going to do is we're just going to place a little 2x4 area in like so with with just our pebble path. And now, although I haven't actually duplicated it over onto this side, I'm going to just do the exact same thing on this side right here as well. So everything I say to do on this side, make sure you're also doing it on the other side, whether or not you've built your building over here yet, because it'll just help keep things a bit more symmetrical and give you an idea of what you're doing. So now to connect into these right here, we just want to bring in a long path going all the way along like so, and then we want to get our path concrete, place one in right here. We're just going to place in a slope and then a stairs. We want to take the curb path off both of these right here, and we of course just want to color these little gray concrete that we've also used over at the front here. And then in the middle point right here, we're going to have a big free wide ramp right here with just stairs either side like so. And then to connect this all up right here, we just want to grab our concrete path and bring that from here over here just all the way along to that point right here. So basically where that tower lines up there on both sides, or basically where the path goes to. And then on the inside right here, we're just going to change these, well, not change them, I guess we're just going to place all these in here with some pebble. And then down on this bottom part right here, we just want to fill the rest of this in with pebble like so, including all the way up to our stairs and our ramps like here, just so we leave these spots right here open. And then for this back section right here, to kind of cap everything off, we just want to go into our primitives right here, grab this little kind of corner wedge thingy right here. We're just going to go back onto default everything, and we're just going to make sure that we're going into precision build mode. We're going to place this in right here, and we're just going to bring this up on no snapping until it basically lines up right here with the path, just so it actually looks like the path, and not just not just some random primitive right here, so it actually lines up with the path. And then to place in all our walls right here, we're just going to start out with our straight ones, so we're going to bring these up just by a half right here, so make sure you're on a half vertical snapping right here, and we're just going to place all of these in like this, and then we're just going to bring these of course down a little bit more like that, and we can do the exact same on these straight pieces over here. And then on these diagonal parts, basically all we want to do is just basically do the same thing but bring it through right here. So bring it across by one, rotate it around by 45 degrees, and then just place one in like so. And we want to do the exact same thing over here, and then you guessed it, the exact same thing over here, and then they should hopefully connect up a little bit. Now I recommend you use one of these to actually stop all the Z fighting or glitching or whatever you want to call it, or you can just slightly put one of them further back than the other, although this is just an easy way to do it, and you can see we've basically got no glitching. And then to just fill in these gaps right here, we just want to use one of these little poles like so, and we just want to bring these across on default snapping, place them in like that, and we want to do that on both of them just so we get that nice curved finish to it all. And once you've painted those all brick, what we next want to do is do that on the other side over here. We of course want to get our little slope things here, so we just bring in our primitive wall right here, and we're just going to bring that up by a half on all of these right here. Just place all of those in like so, and then of course just place in all the walls underneath to actually connect those down into the ground. That's normally helpful. And then finally we want to actually just bring in these right here. We can just use this smaller piece right here to fill this in without it being glitchy and stuff, and we can just fill this in all right here. It doesn't actually matter too much about that glitching anyway, because we're going to place in some poles in just a second, but it's good to just do it anyway just to be safe, And then finally for our little walls, we just want to place in some cuboid bars like so, place in these little edges like that, and we just want to paint everything and make it all look nice. Oh, and of course to fill in these little planters right here, we want to just lower these down into the ground, these little primitive cuboids right here, and we just want to paint these our rock color that we've used on the front right here, just this little rock color, and we just want to paint those all in. So now I'm just going to quickly paint everything the right colors, and I'll be back in a second. And there we go, we now have all of our paths in right here, which means that we're gonna have a bit more of an idea of what we're doing, which always helps when you're trying to lay out such a big build right here, especially copying it from a tutorial. But hey, let's get back to doing this right here. So what we now want to do is just bring these all up by a bit. Now this door right here is just going to be 3 tall like so we're just going to actually go all the way around that. Of course we want to paint everything above here in these little oak planks like that, and we just want to do that everywhere right here. Just bring this going all the way up like this just for now, and then so that we actually know what we're doing, surprisingly we are actually going to use this right here. And then what we're going to do for the roof right here is that we're going to just bring this roof here, and we're going to bring it all the way along to here, and we're just going to bring that out by an extra half like so, because basically this roof is just going to continue on over here. So we just want to grab either side of this roof right here, this one too, bring that along and line that all up, and you should see that these edges should actually go into the roofs right here. And then of course we can bring these to a peak right here on either side like so. They should nicely go into a peak like that, bring them back into our already existing roof that we just placed in a little while ago, and then we've already got the roof for this done. How How easy was that? Surprise, surprise, we've got more pillars to do, so I think you've gotten the point. We're going to put a pillar right here, and we're going to... Wait, what? I'm on no stopping. Whoops. We're going to place a pillar right here, and we're going to place a pillar right here, so I'll be back once I've done that. And of course, I just want to quickly chuck in all of our roof trims going all the way around this area. And one quick little tip right here is instead of actually placing two roof trims inside of each other, you can actually just use these little corner pieces and just place those in right there and right there, and that'll basically just fill it in without you having to do some fancy stuff like we did round here. You can just very easily place it in like so. And now to fill in all of this area, this is quite simple. We've already done this before, so we just want to place in our little primitive wedge wall thingy dingies right here, and we just want to place those all in until we've plugged this entire gap. And in the middle, we just want to place some bars in like we've done before, not rotate them because we didn't do that before, but we just want to place those all in and give them all a paint. Very similar to how we did this window right here. We're just going to place our door in by coming in here, and we're just going to move it back on no snapping it until it stops like coming through right there, and we just want to bring that going all the way up like so. Rotate that round on a half snapping, and there you go. We now have a little bit of a doorway. And then something that I personally think makes this look a bit nicer, although you can just have a large doorway like this, is that we just add a little thing in like this, just this little pole, and we can just add that in at the top right here, and just add in this here, so we've got these two squares right like that, and of course paint that all the right color. Now the reason I actually do this right here is I'd imagine this is actually a bit of a toilet, because what, you know, if you think about it right here, this would be some sort of gift shop or information point or something like that, you know, maybe a buggy hire, I don't know, but you're also going to have like some toilets right here or something like that once you get into the park. So what I'd think is that you've got like a male toilet, a female toilet, a gift shop, and like guest information or something like that, you know. Honestly, these are all up to you, but we're going to talk about this a little bit later on once we've done this part. I actually kind of prefer it without that bar in the middle right here, so I'm going to do that right here, although you can do either or, whichever one you want to do. Now we're going to place in a glass right here, because this is obviously a bit of a window at the top right here, and if you are doing a bathroom, I recommend lowering that down to 10%, or maybe not even 10%, it's a bit much, but like 25% or something like that, just so it's a little less see-through. Although, of course, go with whatever you want. 80% is what we've been using everywhere else, so go with that if you'd like. And now we're actually almost done with the building part. All we've now got to do is this part right here in just a second. But what we want to do is just tie this all together right here, this entire building tied all together, by just bringing these walls coming all the way back to this tower over here. We, of course, want to bring in our wood like so too. Just bring that all the way along, and a third one on top of it right here. And of course, we do need to paint this all into the right color, or it's going to look just a little bit odd right here. And then, as I said in the last episode, if you remember rightly, we do actually need to extend this tower out by just a little bit more. So I'm just going to place in these half ones right here, bring that all the way up until just here for now, I think, because we're going to mess around with doing the bottom of this roof right here a little bit later. And we want to do the exact same with these rocks right here. Bring this coming along like so. And then after we've done that, we've got one last final thing to do right here, which is roof trims. Yay! So we're just going to bring those going all the way along until they connect in right there. And that's the entire building done. Actually, I did slightly lie, because there is still a gap right here, which we do want to fill in. So, you know, we just want to fill that in just by using one of these pieces. So really, it is over. We just got to fill in this gap right here. And you can see that we still have the very, very slightest of a gap up there. So I would chuck a bar up there or something like that, like we've done before, if you just want to fill in that little extra gap, because there is a very, very tiny gap there. And now for this back section right here, we basically want to do the exact same thing as what we've done on the front. And for that reason, I don't think there's much point in me showing you how to do this, because you're basically just copy and pasting this and flipping it. But if you do want to know how to do this quite easily right here, you know, I guess just make sure to measure everything, or you can just watch back the last episode. And now the very last thing to do is actually just kind of copy this entrance right here and flip it on its side over to this other side right here. Now, I really don't think there's much point in me doing this right here, because you've already seen it. But just to start you off right here, these cuboids right here, they need to go in these positions right here, 1 2 3 4 and 4 there, sorry. And then you can just basically copy everything and just flip it on its side. Like, you know, I'm not going to do this. It'll take forever for me to do, just like the other side will. And there's not really much point in me showing you, because you've already seen this all. But there you go, just start from there. And I guess if you really, really need it and you can't, you know, copy it from just this, using this side right here, you can go back and watch like a past, you know, the first tutorial that we did where I showed you how to build this, but just build it on the other side. Just to help you out a bit, this is what it should look like in the end, though. It does slightly go out a bit longer right here because we don't have our towers, so that's the only difference, but I don't show you how to build the towers in the first episode anyway. But it is really, really easy, because genuinely, if we look at it right here, we can just get this piece right here and bring it all the way along like so, and just basically do everything like that. So yeah, it's really just simple, honestly. And now for the inside right here, something that I just quickly like to point out is that if we want to make this inside look a little bit nicer, as I just showed over there, all we basically want to do is just bring along our pieces. So if we actually just bring these along, I'm just going to go on to suit snapping just because it's a little bit easier, but that's where it's going to end up on our other side once we've actually built it, even though there isn't, you know, it isn't there. But we're just going to bring those roofs coming all the way along, and we're going to do the exact same thing right here, just bring all of these all along like so. But we're not going to bring along these pieces right here because that looks a little bit weird. I mean, I guess you can if you want, you can bring these along and they don't look that bad, but it is a bit stupid having that right there. So what I actually did is just place one in like so and just not fill it in. Honestly, up to you, do what you want with that, and then you can just see eventually this will all just fill itself in. And then once you've filled in all of your roofs right here, what we want to do is just bring through these center points right here all the way onto the other side. Of course, just like just like the roofs, these are going to extend through anyway, and you're going to have them on the other side, so you just want to connect to these. Obviously, it's a bit hard to show you without it actually being here, but you can just imagine there'll actually be one on this side like this once you build it like that, and you just want to connect them up through into the middle like that. There we go. I've actually placed in some of the main beams right here just so you can get a bit of an idea, and you can see how this will all look on the inside right here. And the final thing you may want to do if you've left this open right here is just grab a beam and on a quarter snapping just bring it down and place that in like so. Now you don't actually really need to do this, and it doesn't actually change much if you do, but I just like placing this in right here just because it kind of fills that gap right here and kind of has a bit of a connection between the two. So if we just want to place that in, we can place that in like that, bring it all the way along, and we just want to do the exact same for the other side. And then the final thing we want to do on the inside right here is actually placing some lights, because you know, when it's nighttime, it may be a little bit dark in here. That's normally what happens at nighttime, so I recommend just placing in a couple lights just like so, placing them on here too. Whoops, that's a little bit different. So what we need to do is just go onto a half snapping right here, I think, but just place in two lights like so here on each beam like that, and then you can just change around the like strength of the lights and stuff like that. Like if we set it to nighttime right here, you can see how that looks, and we may want to actually just like increase the size right here or something like that, just so it's a little bit brighter in here. And of course you can use light edit mode and just copy that and paste it around like so, just to make it a little bit brighter under here. But now let's go back to daytime, where what we now need to quickly do to end this off right here really in the main tutorial part of this is actually place in our two trees. We've got, well, not just two trees, all of the trees and stuff right here. We've got a lot of bushes and stuff that we need to place in all of our planters. Now what I've gone for is just some little Christmas trees right here. I think these are a really beautiful decoration, and what we're going to do is just set everything to no snapping, because yeah, these just work really well to like light up areas, and they look really like fancy, you know. They give off the impression that they are basically like, you know, really well groomed trees, and they just make it feel really professional and nice right here. And there's no perfect way to place these trees in right here, but I'm just going to place in some randomly like so. On this one I may even just place two of them in just to make it a little bit more interesting, but you just want to litter them with those right here, and then bring in our bushes, just place in a couple of those like so. I'd say place one in per planter right here, maybe two if you're feeling crazy, but we can also just add in a little bit of an extra one down like there in some cases right here. If you've got less trees, just add in a little bit extra. And then to finalize this all off right here, we just want to place in a little bit of rocks, so just get a rock in each of these like so, and then you'll all be sorted for these little planters. And then if you want to do these little trees right here, personally I don't think they look the best, but I'm going to show you how to do them anyway. We just want to grab our well right here using this gray right here, and we just want to place it 1, 2, 3 away like that, so it just lines up with that, and place in another well like so. And then if we just go into here using our picker and grab the biggest sphere, we just want to bring this going down until we start to see that goes under the black part. We just want to place those in like so. Grab our same dirt texture that we've been using here, not that one, bloody hell. We just want to bring in our rock dirt texture thingy right here, and then of course bring in these trees like so. You know, feel free to not even have these planters at all. You may not have the room for these planters if you want to add like a cube or your ticket booths or something like that, but as always, that's completely up to you, and you decide what you want to do with that. But that is literally everything for this tutorial right here. Now there's obviously a couple things that we haven't quite gone through, such as the gift shops, the toilets. We haven't added any turnstiles in here or anything like that, but those will all be coming in future tutorials as their own separate mini tutorials, because I feel like just building the entrance itself right here has taken a lot of work right here, and I feel like splitting splitting those up into their own episodes will allow me to go a bit more into depth and actually, you know, show you a little bit quicker and not at the end of like a 20-30 minute long video in a, you know, 1 hour and a half long series right here. So they'll be all separated up in future videos. But yeah, except from that, I hope you have really enjoyed this series. It's taken a lot of work to put into it, you know, and I just want to say thanks for all the support on it, because this has been a lot of work. I'd like to point out that, you know, just recording this has taken over about 3 hours, I think, to record all of this, and that's not even including the 4 or 5 hours that it took to design this, and like the, you know, 5, 6, 7 hours that I've spent editing all this. So I hope these tutorials have actually helped you out, even if they were a little bit long. But hey, at the end of the world, at the end of the day, it's kind of, you know, hard to show off how to build something as big as this quickly. But I hope they have actually helped you out, and you've been able to build this in your own park, or be inspired by this to build something like this in your own park. But as always, thank you so much to my channel members and Discord server boosters up on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for supporting me. If you'd also like to support me, you can do so down below by clicking that little join button. You get early access to videos, early access to showcasing park streams, sneak peeks, shout outs, and so much more. So please consider checking that out if you'd like to support me. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video and hit that notification bell for more videos in the future. You know, I really appreciate a like, seeing as these videos have taken a long time. But except from that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in another video. Goodbye!